Adolf Hitler is supposed to be considered a madman. He's supposed to be some guy who you're not supposed to like anymore. However, there's a big, huge fanhood on Australia for this guy, despite the fact that he's not supposed to be alive. Some people say that he is alive. Some people have claimed in the past that John Garfield was actually the real Adolf Hitler. Some say Don Garfield was the real Adolf Hitler who actually performed on screen most of the time, except with the guy in the Dance Fox that was supposed to be John Garfield, whereas Hitler was Ava Gardner, who ended up being the big bag of mush in the ditch. And it was not actually Ava Gardner herself, it was actually the other Adolf Hitler, whereas John Garfield would have been the Rudolf Heiss guy. Especially like when he was doing those sorts of speeches where he looks sort of enraged and puffed up. It's supposed to be Don Garfield as Hitler and John Garfield as the second person standing next to him. But most people say that before they took over, it was actually led by a female. The female was from Australia. The female got away because she was a female and not actually a male. And it's rumoured that the male Adolf Hitler, who was supposed to have been like John Garfield, may have either been someone else who just kind of looked like him when he was high, or it was him himself. Most people say that the other Adolf Hitler, who was mostly Adolf Hitler, was either Gene Kelly's daughter, Gene Kelly, who's actually from Australia, and made the girl with the guy from Maria who played, not Antonio Banderas, but the other guy. Or he was an ancient mummy who was revived, and was supposed to have been Jesus, who may have also been turned into Elvis when he had blue eyes. But some people say it's a far-away shot. Anyways, I've discovered that these people who are making New Melbourne apartments are Hitler lovers and they're pornographic models. They're actually developing a whole heap of sites over Melbourne and really good new buildings. Most of them have been in the movies, so they've earned a lot of money, especially for modeling groups. All these buildings are contaminated with certain types of air conditioning, which has or is going to be contaminated in some way in order to showcase the genetics of the person who has been idolized in the advertisements as being the developer of that certain building. So one of the major Hitler lovers, they're supposed to be all kind of Hitler-going peoples who have been pornographic models. Let me see, South Yarra. In South Yarra, I'm really skeezed out about Central South Yarra in particular, which has this kind of model. But that's not the developer, that's a model. The developer, I've talked about this group before, being part of the Yates. I mean, it's a nice looking complex. The developer is actually pictured here, and she doesn't look like this anymore, obviously. She looks like kind of a really wrinkly old person who gets high all the time, and she's actually pictured as this person here. So those are two shots, and these are that one's actually a graphically designed shot, and this one's actually, you can see it's sort of a street kid image. This is a young version of the developer, and she thinks she sort of owns the place, and she's a total Adolf Hitler lover, and she plans to have Nazis in the buildings, and that's how they get her approval. She's supposed to be a serial killer. And when you go into the display suites, you meet her as, what's her name? You meet her as, I'll just have to find out. You meet her as someone, hang on, I know her name. Yeah, you often meet, you'll have willings and dealings with her if you actually go. Some people might not have an issue with these people, but she's kind of satanic. She does witchcraft. She's a sort of a witch lover. She's a stalker as well. She's pornographic in real life and inside of her intellect. And she's a total doomsday player. So what's her name? And I really like. I've been really. Her name's Leonie Steele, or Steele, Stelle. Anyway, I've been really put off by buying property in Melbourne. When you consider how Nazi-like they are. I mean, they plan to pretty much kill everyone in the buildings, give them fake faces, have them revived as zombies, and have them continue on as Melbourne residents. Because they're a big fan of putting fake faces on people, they're a big fan of pornographic intent, and also illegal aliens. They they have a big media team, kidnap babies from hospitals, and they actually abuse people, kill people, revive them. It's a really big holocaust of really death revival loving. And sometimes, yeah, a person does get on screen as a model. They might get in a movie or get a commercial or something, but the commercial's actually tainted. Like, everyone knows that Hollywood is tainted with people on drugs. And it's more than just people on drugs, it's people who have been dead and put on drugs. And so what they do is they try and get a spirit in the head by any means. They have sex with the body. They put little clumps of stuff inside a person's brain. They shove